thank you. It really means a lot that you are all here to share this event with me. My first solo show was one of my goals after I retired. To check off the box for 2025 is to have a solo show, and I'm just really blessed to have you all here with me. So I also want to thank the gallery for doing so much work getting things together and having such a wonderful space to show. Thank you, Angie, for calling me in early January and offering me a spot to show, and appreciate your trust in me, since I was not someone who is maybe a well-known artist or someone who's shown in the city before, so thank you for your trust in me. I really want to thank my family, my wife Karen, lovely wife Karen. Been super supportive of me in my creative endeavors, and encouraging me and pushing me in good directions. So thank you. Thank you to my daughter Andy, who's in from New York, and my son Ben, hopefully with the Iowa Hawkeye hat there. You know, it's not always easy to travel with a photographer. The photographer is always wanting to stop and get a different angle and maybe mess up the plans for the day, but they're always very accommodating, and they're always very supportive and patient with me, and I appreciate that. And finally, I'd like to thank my cousin Paula, somewhere maybe, and my friend Ryan Nicholson, who helped Sunday, along with Angie and the rest of my family, to do all of this hanging, which was a lot of work, and many hands made light work. So thank you. Just a little bit about me for those who don't know much about me. I grew up, as Angie said, in Lamars, a little town in northwest Iowa, and my dad was a biology professor at the small college there, and he was also an avid photographer. And he had one other important job. So every couple of years, we would have a family reunion on my mom's side. And his job was to prepare the slideshow. Now, many of you may have endured painfully boring family slideshows with carousel after carousel, right? My dad's show was not that show. So my dad's slideshows were really one of the highlights of our reunions. And the cousins used to pack in that room together, and we would watch until he was done showing. And it was carousel after carousel of enjoyment. And I don't know that I maybe could have put into words what that meant to me at that time, but I think intuitively, that was probably the first time I understood the power of an image. You know, the power of an image to give laughter, have joy, build community, and tell a story. Following high school, I actually went to the little college that my dad taught at, had a couple of classes where he was my teacher, which was kind of interesting. I went then to the University of Iowa Medical School, where I met Karen, and this was followed, after medical school, we moved down to Kansas City, and we actually had a house about 5 blocks away up here in Brookside. And Karen did her radiology training at St. Luke's, and I was stationed at Fort Riley paying the Army back for Army medical school scholarship. So after 5 years here, we went to Pittsburgh for 4 years, where I was doing my training, a year in Iowa for my hand surgery training, and then in 2001 we came back to Kansas City. And as you might imagine, that was a busy time for me and for us as a family. We had 2 small kids, and I was starting a practice. And, you know, there didn't seem to be a lot of extra time, you know, to explore, be creative, even play golf. So, you know, after a while, there was some more time, and that was a good thing. About 10 years ago, we were preparing to take a trip to India to visit some friends who were over in Mumbai. And at that time, I decided, you know, maybe I needed a hobby. something to do on the outside, and I kind of like photography. Maybe I'll get a nice camera and get a nice lens and see where this takes me. And I think if you'd asked me at that time before I went on that trip, you know, am I a creative person? I would have said no. You know, I was a logic, science kind of guy. I had in my mind the impression of someone as creative as someone who can play a musical instrument, or someone who can paint or draw, or who's a good writer, and I was none of those things. But something happened on that trip to India with that camera, and I realized that actually, you know, I am a creative person. And I do have a creative side to me, which of course, if looking back, of course, we're all creative, right? It's just whether you have intention and the right outlet. But we all have that creative side to us. So after I came back, and frankly, when I go back and look at those files, I didn't really take that many good pictures. With you. Fortunately, I think my progress as a photographer has improved since then. But you know, surgeons are early risers. So I was always up very early in the morning, and that's when I did my photography. So for an hour or two before I would go into work, that's when I would work on my photography, learning how to do post-processing and learn how to Lightroom and Photoshop and those things. To sort of take that vision from what I saw and translate it into a finished piece. As you wander around the images tonight, you'll see, with the exception of the 3 big Kansas City pieces, you know, all of these pieces are pieces that I have taken on travels. And I've been so blessed, really, in many, many ways. And one of my blessings is I have a family that loves to travel. And we've really grown together as a family and as individuals by traveling and exposing ourselves to different cultures and different places. Someone once said that travel is the only thing you buy that makes you richer. And I'm a firm believer in that. For me, travel is more than just the simple act of visiting somewhere. It's really a journey inward. It's a process of seeing the world and my place in the world with a new perspective. I think the words of Marcel Proust, who was a French novelist, really encapsulates what travel means to me. He wrote, "The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeing new landscapes, but in having new eyes." This, I believe, is the heart of my work, which is using the medium of photography to capture not just places, but to capture moments in time that will hopefully spark a connection and an understanding of our world and our place in the world. So people often ask me, do you have a favorite image? And of course, that's like asking a mom who's their favorite kid, right? So these are all my babies, right? And I have spent hours and hours and hours with every single one of these images. But I think if there were one image that really is the one that hits me the most, is out in the hallway, at the end of the hallway. It's that picture of the zebra with the sunrise. And I think it's so special to me because it's probably the first image that I can recall creating that was an image that I had preconceived and pre-imagined this image before I went to Africa. And you know, obviously when you're shooting wildlife, you don't know, you're sort of lucky if that time happens. And I was lucky enough to be there at the right time with the right sun and the zebras and the golden glow of the zebra manes and the birds, and it was all just perfect. And there was not only the capturing it, but there was also the technical side of what it takes to take an image like that and then to be able to print it, you know, big, right? And that's a whole nother, you know, set of skills that I enjoy working So photography, like travel, is an invitation to pause, to notice, to connect. And I hope that some of these images will inspire you to look at the world with new eyes. So again, I really cannot thank you enough for being here. It really means the world to me. And I appreciate you taking time out from your weekend to be here. I would be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any, and if not, please enjoy your wanderings. And I'm always very interested to hear what image that people connect with the most, because it's never the same image, which I always find is so interesting. So something about an image that allows someone to connect with. So if you have a favorite image, I'd love to hear about it, and I'd love to hear about why. So again, thank you so much for being here, and enjoy the